Actually, well, that's a pretty,
That's pretty decent.
What's the definition of flammable?
questionable, actually.
Yeah.
Cabinets.
How many cabinets?
It's the room.
That's just,
Yeah.
that's just.
That's a cabinet.
Point up in front office.
That's the legal.
That's right across. This is the area now, it's just full of room. You can't even see the.
State law requires this body to announce at this time that a copy of the current Open Meetings Act is available at the back of the room where it is accessible to the public. Weiss.
Here.
Tiller.
Here?
Wolf.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
Euchre.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Smith.
Here. All rise for a moment of silence, please. Thank you. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 1, consent agenda. Approve this agenda, pay the claims as submitted, and approve the minutes from the February 21st, 2023 regular meeting of the council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we will need to have Lola and Dale abstain on this for the claims because there are 2 claims on there for each of them, one for each of them, so.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I abstain on the claims, but I,
You can still.
oh, okay.
We can do it as, do it all separately.
Yeah.
If you'd like.
She found an error in the minutes, so she.
Okay, so I would recommend that we approve each item separately.
Okay. All right. So let's go with consent agenda A. Approve this agenda. Corey,
Second.
second. Ken.
Tiller.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Thank you. Consent agenda B, pay the claims as submitted.
I'll make that motion.
Nick,
So move. Second.
second. Gibbons.
Weiss.
Yes.
Tiller.
Abstain?
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrington.
Abstain.
Euchre.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Thank you. Consent agenda C, approve the minutes of the February 21st, 2023 regular meeting of the council.
And I need to call out, how do you say it, make an amendment? Or make a correction? Yeah, on the roll call for last month, it said here that the ayes included Trent Fuker and abstained was Harrington, and it was just opposite.
I didn't abstain.
I abstain.
I didn't
Yes,
abstain.
correct, yes.
Thank you.
So approval with the amendment. Fuker
I'll say.
and Johnson.
Good catch.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Tiller.
Yes?
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
And Fuker.
Yes.
Thank you.
Public forum, any non-agenda item, please state your name and
My apologies. I'm Sharon Hifley with the South Central Economic Development District. And evidently I'm here on the wrong night. I was supposed to be here 2 weeks ago. I got double booked and I moved it 2 weeks instead of a month. So do you mind if I just take a few minutes to tell you? We're right down the street above First State Bank. Saw some of you. I saw you. I didn't get to visit with you at League of Municipalities. I was running a booth. There are 8 districts across the state. Together, we make up the NROC, we call it Nebraska Regional Officials Council. But we are set up in statute to be an extension of local government. So kind of that economic development arm, particularly for communities not as large as Holdrege that don't have their own economic developer, or we help them do projects. So we worked with Ron over the winter on the rural workforce, the ARPA Rural Workforce Land Development Grant. We've been working in Bertrand. We helped them apply for the trust fund money for the 5-plex that we hope Monday we have plans so we can get ready to send them off to the Department of Energy for approval so we can go out for bids. We helped them form their investment club, and we have about $1 million in rural workforce funds. We'll be applying for about $500,000 more this month, and those get loaned out. So we also have about $1.2 million in business loan funds. So we brought that museum house to town, put it up in the new addition, sold that, and then made a loan to see that rehabbed. We've been funding some rehab projects over on the west side of Burlington. Put a new house in a few years back at 11th and Logan. So that's some of the stuff we do. We cover a 13 county area. I just wanted to bring our annual report to you. I didn't give you enough. Still didn't give you enough. Hold on here. I don't know why I can only count 3 on each side. I apologize. You are my 7th of 9 county or city meetings in 3 days. So this is just a snapshot of some of the work that we do across the region. If you look on the back, you see the map. You guys are the west edge of our territory, even though we're officed here. We go as far east as Superior and Central City, Clark's up in Merritt County, as far north as St. Paul. And so most of our work is in helping to get grant projects put together and then help to get that grant funding, particularly community development block grants. So when Holdrege did the downtown revitalization, we helped with that. You'll see this year we're showcasing Superior as Community of Champions. Just because of the way for a small town, they've done surveys, they go out, they find out from their people what do you want? They help set those priorities, they find the funding, they make things happen, they go back and ask, how did we do, what do you want? You know, what do we need in our community? It's been a good recipe. Wood River was our community last year, and you know, they had the unfortunate win, as it seems, of being really devastated by the bomb cyclone, which brought in some funding, but it also brought in some devastation, but some opportunities, and so it allowed them to do projects that other communities maybe didn't have access to. So talk a lot about Superior. They needed low-end market rate. Their houses don't go for as much as ours do. Their wages aren't as high. And they applied for trust fund grants, which is the documentary stamp. When real estate changes hands, you pay, what is it, 2 1/4 per thousand valuation. Some of that doc stamp goes in to fund this Nebraska Affordable Housing Trust Fund. And they were able to fund this BOOM, they call it, Building Owner Occupied Momentum, small homes on infill lots. They've done 7 years of nuisance abatement, so cleanup. They've torn down, I think, 50 crappy properties, and then these are houses on smaller infill lots in older neighborhoods, so they fit nice. 950 square foot. They started out selling it for about 126 grand. They're up a little higher than that. Building supplies have driven that up, but kind of a fun project. We know that in order to keep our employers happy and growing, they need workforce, and you're going to hear them talk about that a lot. But in order to get workforce, we have to have housing, we have to have childcare, and we have to have broadband. So that's really where our focus seems to be hitting right now. This spread just talks about the projects. Recognize the museum house. This is the house that we actually built in Blue Hill. We did a TIF agreement with them where they had not had a spec home since the 60s. So they did a TIF agreement where they gave us the lot pad ready, meant they paid for the basement. We put the house on top, mitigated our risk, brought our costs down, and ended up to be a really good project. And they were excited. They got a young family with 3 teenage boys over 6 foot tall. So they were thrilled, and they did not want them moving to Hastings or another town. He went to work for Glenwood. So talked a little bit about Bertrand's Trust Fund project. Mostly we loan the money out only when there isn't so much demand for loans, like when construction costs started to go real high. Do we have to be the developer? We don't want the money to sit, so we will do that, but it is not our best fit. We're better at making loans. So you can see Palmer Economic Development borrowed for a spec house. We have a young man in Wood River. He's been part of their Vision 2020 volunteer economic development group since they started in 2012. He said, I was tired of sitting at these meetings and everybody talked about when somebody needed to do something, nobody was doing anything. So he got a college buddy and a high school buddy, formed the JET LLC, and they're putting up a duplex in Wood River, so we're funding that. And we have a young man, a contractor that did a 26-lot subdivision in Central City. So we've been funding 3 houses at a time there. So just some fun stuff, and we hope by telling those stories, other towns go, wait a minute, if they can do that, we can do that. Let's talk. Again, got to support that workforce. How do we do that? Minden and Bertrand, we help them start investment clubs. Each of those investment clubs have decided their first $50,000, they will forego the return on investment. They are for-profit investment clubs. Families put in $100 a month or $1,200 a year. And they said, we will forego the return on investment, and we're going to put it aside. Bertrand is partnering with PCDC, and Minden is partnering with us, and they will each put in $50,000 to ask for $100,000 of rural workforce funds to turn their 50 into 150 to revolve and continue to do rural workforce housing. When we talk rural workforce housing, we're talking about new construction, single-family homes that don't cost or sell for more than $325,000, or new construction rentals that don't cost more than $250,000. We're talking rehab that you invest at least 50% of the assessed value back into, or it can go for conversion, which would be a second-story development into apartments if it had never been apartments, that kind of thing. So we had a brownfields workshop, trying to always keep our communities apprised of funding that's out there. A brownfield is a property that has actual or perceived contamination that is keeping it from being redeveloped. It's like, man, I'd do something with that, but I'm scared to get in there. I think it's full of whatever, you know. So again, just last summer we had about 30 people from across the region. Childcare is huge. Right now we are sponsoring around, we are a fiscal officer for the C4K, the Children, or Communities for Children grant for Bertrand. And we are also fiscal officer for Rooted in Relationships for Phelps County. I believe the foundation is the fiscal officer for the C4K for Holdrege. But Bertrand is a big deal. We do what we can to help with that. For the communities that feel like they will qualify, we've done block grant applications and administration. So Red Cloud and Wood River both have been funded that way. You might want to check out the Dome in Central City. Again, you know, they can't have basements. They're right on the river, and they've never had a tornado shelter. So they were able to work with NEMA. 3 years long process. That superintendent is like a hero. But went through application and reapplication, and oh, by the way, we decided you don't fit in this program. Can you apply to this program instead? But it's very cool if you get the opportunity to go up there. It's state of the art. If you want tickets for the spring volleyball game that UNL is playing there, you have to go stand in line on the Monday after Easter. They're selling them in person at the school. Broadband. If somebody's going to come here and take a job, there's a good chance that their spouse can bring a job, but they have to have broadband, and we don't have it in the rural areas. Our towns are pretty well covered because that business model will work for our ISPs, our internet service providers, but $35,000 a mile to put in fiber. That was last year's price. I haven't had an update. They can't take it out to 4 or 5 farms. So last year we helped Glenwood work with the county. The county put ARPA funds in, and they got a grant to put in broadband south of here. We need to have a covered, I know MPPD would like to see every acre covered because of precision ag coming and all. What we're working on right now, last year we did broadband bridge grants, helping with that. There's a BEAD program coming, there's all this federal money coming. Right now we've been asked to partner with the Public Service Commission and the NITC on a statewide study. It's a digital equity and inclusion study. It looks at 7 populations, and primarily the ones that we will have impacted are elderly, low income, and rural. But we put together a committee to look at that. Our study for our 13 counties will be 1 chapter of a 7-chapter book that will be the state's plan, and that study will open doors for more funding to come. So that's really, it's kind of a check the box, but this talks about who's on our board, who's on our staff, and just a snapshot of accomplishments. So do you have any questions?
Council, any questions?
Do you have any projects in town going on?
We have 3 loans for rehab homes.
By
Right
a
now?
renter or by a individual trying to?
They're purchase, rehab, resale projects, so purchase, rehab them, and then we'll sell them, right? So those loans are 12-month or the sooner of 12 months or sale. And we've worked with Ron on his rural workforce housing application that's due later this month. And like I said, we worked a little bit with Ron on his, we had some discussions. He could pretty much carry the ball on his ARPA application for land development. His was much different. It was a little bit, most of the communities that applied in our region, the 8 communities in our region that applied, it's funding that you could go out and purchase and tear down dilapidated, crappy properties. And Ron actually applied for a new, the infrastructure for a new subdivision. You can do water lines in a new, and you could purchase it. So that was his project. So it was just more consulting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for stopping by.
Appreciate it.
Items 3 through 7 on the agenda will be moved to a later meeting. So let's move on to item 8, review and accept Holdrege Area Public Library's annual report.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello. I know this was attached to the electronic copy of the agenda that was sent out to you. I am going to give you another copy anyway. Just being a librarian.
Is this a...
Same thing.
Okay.
The same one that we.
Yep, well, I'm a librarian. I love paper. This last year was not as successful as I had hoped. Last fiscal year was a serious rebuilding year. We lost our long-term cataloger, Cynthia Bloom, to retirement. We got her back about a month later to train our new person, Anna Brooks, but we also lost our circulation supervisor. We lost our shelver and our custodian. Finding people to fit all of these positions has been difficult, and the custodian position in particular has been a thorn in my side. But we finally got somebody, an elderly gentleman out of retirement, who really wanted something to do. So we now give him something to do for 3 hours a day every morning, and now our floors are vacuumed and the trash is taken out. But I think that we did a fairly decent job of not letting things slip that did not go forward as far as we wanted. We hired Sierra Burrows as our circulation manager. which in one respect was fantastic, in another it shot ourselves in the foot because she was the president of the Friends of the Library. So now the Friends of the Library has less leadership, but on the other hand, we have a fantastic person running our programming, and the programming for adults has taken off by leaps and bounds. The upcoming goal we had for this fiscal year turned out to be somewhat prescient. Looking at delayed maintenance issues. Turns out in the past month and a half, an odor has been detected in the library that has made some of our staff go home ill. One of the problems is that, one, it apparently comes from my office, and two, I can't smell it. So after we exhausted all the immediately obvious things, we turned to Kim Parsons, who's been doing a fantastic job of knocking down the possibilities. We've got an air sampler going to be coming in the next week or so to try and give us actual data on what the smell is. We're looking to attend to our state certification and increase our programming. One thing that we are finding is that, as I'm sure you've noticed, American society is seriously fluctuating. In particular, Americans' entertainment options have boomed, and it hasn't really settled down into anything predictable or homogeneous at this point, which means that a library which tries to bolster literacy skills through people's entertainment, we're kind of tap dancing, trying to find out what people like and what's going to appeal to them and what's going to bring them in. We have found with our new hire, Sierra, that her ideas are seriously bringing people in. Unfortunately, for this fiscal year, she was only here for 6 months and really didn't have her feet under her to really make a difference at that point. But I can tell you that the attendance for adult programming and teen programming is really ballooning for us, and we're really thrilled to be able to offer things that people are interested in coming out to see. We have hit a few snags. Some of the things that we've scheduled have had to be rescheduled. In particular, we were going to have a bat night with bats coming out to the library. Unfortunately, the bats are getting nervous, and so the handlers tell us that they had to cancel it for the bat's mental health. I suggested just giving him a sip of Prozac and make him do it anyway, but nobody listens to me. So things like that are being rescheduled, probably with other things, but we've had many local artists featured with exhibitions of their art. We've had quite a few exhibitions from the schools in the area, both the Holdrege High School as well as Bertrand. We've done our best to make sure any and all local artists can be represented if they so choose. And that's another function of the library, is to bring people together and let their achievements really be seen. The real metrics that we use are on the third page, return on investment. That's the very colorful page. And using the same dollar benefit per use, we did 3% better than the previous fiscal year. Like I said, it was a little disappointing. I wanted to do better than that. Pre-COVID, we were easily doing 200%, and that's where I'd like to start. That's what we're really looking to see. But like I said, during the rebuilding year, when people were getting to know what they need to do, we also changed our software that we use. People may notice that our online catalog is much easier to use now. And I don't know why this wasn't included in the previous piece of software, but now when you look at it, if the book is checked out, it's a different, the entry's in a different color, so you can know. It seemed like a no-brainer to me, which is why one of the reasons why we chose this new piece of software. So we've had to relearn our skills and really take a look at what we were doing, but through all that we managed to maintain what we were doing, and this next fiscal year we have every intention of doing much, much better. Just so you can see the raw data, I've got the library use statistics for this fiscal year of 2020 through 21 and for 21 through 22, so you can see exactly what's going on. I will say that when you look at our data for 2021 through 22, we've got one square that is highlighted in yellow. We have absolutely no idea why that number is so big. It's about 5 times what it should be. That's the number of website visits in a month. Normally, that runs about 500 to 600, which you can see on either side of that month. But in November of 2021, it was 2,767. We don't know why. I went to our website host and said, "Are you absolutely sure?" And they said yes. So I try not to use that number when calculating averages, because as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't make sense. But that is how we've been, how the previous year has gone. This year has been doing really, really well, aside from the mysterious smell that ate Cincinnati. It seems to set up set up in my office. But like I said, I can't smell it. It only affects people that actually come into my office. So I'm currently, the staff has decided my door needs to be closed. I need to be shut in, and I'm feeling very disconnected. So I get to walk through everybody else's office and bother them now. Do you have any questions about the library's past actions or what we're planning in the future?
Any questions?
Has there been any more talk, under the steering committee and everybody getting along? Has there been any more talks about a new library?
Yes, but that is being addressed by the board, and I'm not involved in that. The board, I believe, is still working on securing a place, but they believe that it needs the involvement of the city, because the board themselves should not be purchasing the land. So they've got plans for that, but I don't exactly know what they are. That's just the general feel that I've gotten from board meetings. Like I said, I run the library. If they hand me the keys to a new one, I'd be happy to go there, but right now I'm driving what I got.
Okay.
I'm under the impression that the steering committee has been disbanded. The steering committee, that is no longer. That's basically just the board. And
Yeah, it's no longer in existence.
Yeah, but I do know that there are members of the board that are still working on securing a place and going forward with the idea of a new library building.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right here we go. Amazing how that works, isn't it? Excuse me, I'm all choked up about this tonight. Item 9, approve the library's request to close 6th Avenue between East Avenue and the alley on the east side of the library on May 23rd from noon to 8 p.m. for their summer reading kickoff or program kickoff. You've done this before, is that right?
We've had kickoffs. We have not had one where we wanted to close the street. This time, we've got we're essentially serving as guinea pigs for a pilot program. There's a group that are bringing horses in to with handlers to provide entertainment and activities with the kids. And so that would run from noon to 8. And that would actually be on the south side of the library on 6th Avenue. We would not be closing east. We just need some barriers up to keep cars from interrupting the horses. I have been assured that the handlers will do some cleanup. That's not something I really wanted to get stuck with, so I was sure to ask. But last year, our summer reading kickoff was bigger than we could comfortably handle. This year, we're going to be closing the library in the morning so that all staff will be concentrated during the time that the kids will be out of school, and so that we've got more people available and on hand to deal with the activities and signing up all the kids.
Exactly what type of horses are you talking? I mean, we're talking like a petting zoo type thing, or?
Actually, I've got a couple of them are going to be like picking out balls with letters on them. So it'll be more literacy type activities, but very much like an active petting zoo.
Right.
I've been told that they've got a miniature horse that they're bringing along. I mentioned that I did not want the horse to come into the library when they offered, so that horse will be outside too.
So we're not talking about giving horseback riding or anything like that for the kids?
No. It's just interacting with the horse with them on the ground. So yeah, I did not want to handle anything like that. The liability just screamed at me, and so it is very much keeping the reasonable number of kids interacting with the horses at a time, and the rest can wait their turn.
Okay, there's enough liability with what this is.
Yeah.
So
Do you happen to know how big the staff or the group is coming, people on hand to?
I know that I've been told that they've got at least one handler per horse, and there may be as many as 2 handlers per horse. It'll be somewhere around in there. We're a kind of, like I said, a pilot program. They've developed this as a beginning thing, and so the costs for this are primarily being handled by them. They're getting grants to come out to us, and we're paying just a token fee of $300. We don't have to pay mileage for them or anything like that. So this is just a really good opportunity for us to get some of these animals into Holdrege, where, I mean, we may be a rural town, but not a lot of these kids have a chance to interact with these animals.
That's on 23rd is on a Tuesday, is that
Right.
right? Okay. And from East Avenue back to the alley? Okay.
So just right in front of you.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Natalie, do you have any concerns?
No.
Kim,
Kim, do you have anything?
We'll just help them out.
Okay.
All right. I make a motion.
I'll second
Gordon
it.
moves.
I'll second it.
Dale, second.
Tiller,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Duker,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lees.
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you very much. You've made our activities committee very, very happy, especially because that means they don't have to replan anything.
There's some extra.
Okay.
Goes back.
There you are. Okay.
10, approve Christopher, I don't know what this one, Syke, as a new liquor license manager for Casey's Convenience for both convenience stores, number 1606 and 1800 in Holdrege, Nebraska. I believe everybody's got the application and so
I haven't
forth.
spoken with him, Mayor, but I'm pretty sure that this is a district manager for Casey's.
Okay.
So he probably manages several other liquors.
That's what it looked like in the application to me. Looks like he's probably out of Omaha.
Yeah.
Well, it says his residence is on.
Yeah. So, like Dane said,
Is there anything that says that he has to be on site or anything like that?
No.
No,
No.
yeah, a lot of our managers are people that manage districts. It works better for them because then they don't have to come back to the council every 6 months when they replace them.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Trent?
Second.
Larry?
Johnson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Weiss.
He had to,
Sorry, I made a note of it. Teller,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
open discussion. Chief, can you lead us off this evening, please?
Sure, I have not much. I have interviews next week on the 15th for 3 applicants. So
That's good.
that's good.
In your notes, one of them was already certified, is that correct?
Yes,
That's a plus.
it's a very good plus.
That means they can come to work.
Start right away,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, yeah. Very good.
Yeah, so hopeful.
You say that's next week?
Yep, on the
Okay.
15th.
Great,
Yep.
all right.
I don't see where to minimize that. So, as soon as I shut that off, I'll show you what our new website looks like.
Okay.
You can give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna go with it because it's just what the public needs, I
Oh,
guess.
okay.
And that's what we're here for.
All right, yes,
I
absolutely.
would have a look at that.
Okay,
That's all I have. Oh, I do have 4 Chromebooks downstairs for those of you that want to pick one up. I haven't set them up or anything. I'll let you take them home and do that yourself. Otherwise, they're downstairs.
Hopefully at the next meeting, we'll be bringing a bid to do the irrigation, seeding, and dirt work and infield at the baseball fields. We had a pre-bid meeting today. Had a couple contractors show up, so that was encouraging. We had a few phone calls before the meeting, so hopefully we'll have that.
okay.
Last week, for those of you that weren't at the league conference, we had a pretty good luncheon with Senator Merman. Explained a few things to him that he didn't understand about city government, and so hopefully we'll make some headway on that. I was very, I don't know, how would you say it, Dale? I explained it very well to him. I thought.
Yes.
I thought you did very, very well.
Yeah, there was a good, yeah, you had.
I heard you were very diplomatic also. But,
I tried very well.
Yeah. Presented it well.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay, great, thank you. Nick?
Nothing.
Okay.
I have nothing.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for filling in for me at the last council meeting.
Anytime, man.
Thank you, I appreciate that. It was, probably didn't want me here. I tried to tough it out, but it wasn't gonna happen. All right, thank you. Trent,
Welcome back.
thank
That's all I
you.
got.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Larry?
Nothing.
Nothing? Stacy,
Nothing here?
belated happy birthday.
Thank you.
Lola?
I just would like to again recommend that we look for a date to set up a council retreat. There are a lot of issues that I think we could be discussing. And I just wanted to mention that I came back home from the league meeting, or the conference, and I went and I practiced what they told me to do in the budget. And I was in Mary's office yesterday looking at the budget and stuff, and it was very, very interesting to see how it's all set up. Yeah,
All right, great.
I used it.
Okay.
Nothing from me.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
Nothing, sir.
Ryan?
I have nothing, Mayor.
I have, other than thanking Ben again, and thank you for bringing up the retreat. I think that's, maybe Ben, if you could work with him on getting a date as to when you guys would like to do that. I'm pretty much open, so could maybe follow up on that.
My people call me free.
Okay.
All right. Great. Let's call it a meeting.
Things that we want to get
I just, so I don't want you to.